All right, what's good, y'all? It's no name. Let's get right into it, right? Let's talk T17s for a little bit. Like this, just straight to it, because I think I'm in a position now to give an opinion on T17s. We're about 2 weeks into the league. I intentionally made sure that my second character was going to be 100% capable of doing these maps, just so I could have perspective on what I was hearing about them from, like, seeing and hearing other people talk about them. It's about as bad as people say. It really is. And I think it's two reasons why it is. One, it just doesn't match our expectations. Like the what we were sold when they were sold. Obviously, we didn't pay anything, but you know what I mean. Like what they were telling us on the stream about what to expect with these T17s does not match T17s. They're just too hard. And like now, it's not really a complaint of like, oh, is it too hard or what? Like, oh, I don't like when content's hard. I like hard content, but I wasn't told, oh, T17s are going to be like our next like uber pinnacle level content. I was told that they're bridge content, and they don't feel like bridge content. They feel like on par content. It's not supposed to be that way, y'all. The other thing that really stuck out to me about the way T17s are going right now is that they just feel unfun in a lot of ways. The modifier system on T17s is just not fun at all. I'm not going to do a large form rant on this, but we're just going to talk very quickly about some of the problems that modifiers have. One, there's a variety of arena hazard ones that are just somewhere between unfun and unplayable. For example, no one wants to play with Awakener's Desolation. It's a shit debuff that shouldn't even be in the game in the first place. If you're not aware, Awakener's Desolation is the debuff in the Sirius fight when you step on those fucking puddles he makes, especially during final phase. And you've most likely died standing in one of those because you were like, why am I not able to heal or anything? Oh yeah, it's because it turns off your recovery. It's AIDS. Not as AIDS as Maven's Punishment, but that's because it's a full 10-second long debuff. This just kills you quickly while you're standing in it and like shuts down recovery while you're in it. It's very brutal. Oh, the Eater's Drowning Orbs are on there. Petrification statues are on there. And then some other like general mapping problem ones that are in there. Like Union of Souls is not fun. Shaper Touched Rares has some unfun elements due to the lack of proper sound queuing for Shaper's attacks. We were joking around. It's like, oh, what are you worried you're going to get beamed? Just like pay attention. And it's like, well, I mean, usually I can look for a Shaper, right? Even in an Uber Elder that is Maven witnessed, for example, even if there's literally 4 Shapers around the arena, I can still hear the Shaper beam. And the screen doesn't have all that much going on that I can't see the various Shapers, but I can also hear when I hear the line, gaze into the abyss, right? Like you hear the line, so you know, oh shit, there's a beam coming. There is no gaze into the abyss in those maps. There's just a beam down a hallway, which makes Fortress with that modifier like actually really terrifying. You get things like that happening. You get, I had my Lycia first kill was a replenishing shrine Lycia because I didn't think about the fact that one of the shrines that could be given would literally just be the healing shrine. I had to go change like 3 things in my build to make her killable to make that work. I still killed it, but it was like, what in the fuck? Why is she not taking damage? Am I tweaking? Am I bugging? Is my damage broke? No, she just has a replenishing shrine. All right then, right? There's just a lot of things that are, in a lot of ways, unfun. I didn't even talk about Ghosted. Like things just feel unfun about how it's designed. And I mean that's not a good feeling at all. It's one thing for it to be overtuned and very difficult, but to be unfun to interact with to the point where like my general sense of loathing right now when it comes to running T17 is I just don't want to spend forever rolling chaos on these things. Setting up a regex so that I can roll down potentially 30, 40, 50 chaos on these maps to make them runnable in my mid-game state, because mid-game state air quote, because remember, this is bridge content. This is bridge content with strong uniques locked behind it, right? Maybe your build really comes online with Yoke of Suffering. Maybe you're just a minion player who really wants Wraith Lord. You've got to kill these T17s repeatedly until you drop it. Maybe you were really looking forward to doing something with Darkseer. You've got to kill that repeatedly to be able to get it. And obviously it's like, well, why did you plan a build around something that would need those items? You should just play other builds. Man, fuck that. People don't want to do that shit. Like, you know how lame it is all the goddamn time to have to like think about the fact that the shit you want that makes your cool idea pop off for the character that you want to play is behind content that isn't fucking doable by that character. Like, how the fuck did we become okay with that? But that's a whole other topic, right? And that's the problem with T17s. It's got powerful items that are in that were once a time mid-game strength as, like, for example, Yoke got like a tiny-ish buff. Like, honestly, like, it's not that Yoke's buff is irrelevant, but like Yoke could have gotten that buff and stayed in the core drop pool. But now, instead of being a quick, maybe in trade like 30 chaos pickup or like an item I might actually see by T17's time in like SSF, especially if I'm, with a little bit of rarity on gear and I might be able to upgrade into that and to get things rolling. Nope. Gotta kill T17s on repeat till I get it. And there's like 1 in 10. That sucks. And to top it all off, right? Uber bosses also fell into this same bucket where you can't access Ubers until you can do T17s. You can't even use a 5th map device slot until you can kill 1 T17. And now, luckily, again, in trade, just buy a carry. Like, genuinely, if you're watching this video right now and you don't have your T17 slot, I'm just going to assume that you are, like me, don't really like buying carries. And it's one of those things where you ask yourself, am I really willing to continue standing on business because I'm just losing out on trade league efficiency at the moment by not just paying the 45 chaos or whatever it is currently. When I paid mine, it was 45 chaos to get that slot. And that still feels lame as hell, don't it? Like, that doesn't feel good, but at least you have a solution there. But if you're SSF, what you gonna do? You gotta kill that T17 if you want that 5th map slot. And you can't just buy the uniques that you want from them bosses either. And the fragment dropping of the Ubers is ridiculous. The fact that you could be running the most cooked T17 ever and still get 1 fragment, fuck out of here. That needs to change. That does not feel good. Running 170% quant, it's like, 1 fragment. Really, bro? And a part of this also just feels like some of this shit was tuned around the fact that the Atlas tree works on it. Like, it almost feels like they're expecting you to Nico Shrine your way through T17s and added difficulty because of that. Fuck you. Just take all the shit off the tree then. I don't give a fuck. Take all that shit out. I don't give a fuck. Make the T17s reasonable, goddammit. Make the shit reasonable. Make it fun to interact with. I shouldn't, like, T17s are the new hot thing. Imagine if when Eater Exarch dropped, everybody was like, I don't really want to do Eater Exarch, right? Like, it's the new boss. We should be excited to do these things, and yet the current sentiment around it is nothing but a lot of fucking loathing. And I haven't even gotten into the other stuff that's going on T17s that's either degenerate or really cool, depending on your perspective, including like one other thing that I'm just personally curious about when it comes to T17s, right? All these things, and those will be for another video, because this video is just about me being upset with T17s and the way that they launched and the way that they made the game feel. Having seen it in both trade and SSF, I'm convinced this was a terrible fucking decision on all fronts. Uber bosses need to be more common. Like, the actual like fragments drop more. T17s, while they drop a ton of them, they need to be actually clearable to some degree. The modifiers need to be less unfun. Like, there should be more incentive for the player to actually run the mods instead of just looking and be like, nope, this is AIDS. And whoever designed Union of Souls, remove that shit right the fuck now. That one right there in particular is the only one that I'm going to call for a direct removal of. The other things I gave some more specific feedback on earlier, but just, fuck, man, get it right. It's supposed to be cool. And I think that's where this video comes from. I think that's where all of the frustration that you might be seeing on like Reddit or Twitter or on Twitch, etc., other YouTubers, just the frustration of the fact that this could have been something really, really, really cool that wasn't. Anyways, That's it for this rant, right? Because if I keep going, I'm going to work myself back up, and there are other more positive things to be talked about in the coming future that I'd rather be doing. So, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, hey, look, a like always helps, you know. Maybe comment some of your experience with T17s as well, just because I like to know how people feel about these types of things, as well. Maybe if you have any suggestions for things that, you know, whether it be what did you do to make T17s easier, or things that, you know, you feel like GDG could really improve on when it comes to these maps, whatever it may be. And otherwise, that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys soon. Peace.